Hey guys, welcome back to a brand new video. Today I wanted to talk about how fat I am and what I've been doing about that. In my Brooke Health's video, a lot of you noticed that I had looked like I had lost some weight, and I did. And I wanted to share with you guys what worked for me, what didn't work for me, and everything in between. So I kind of want to start way back. In my early teens, I was diagnosed with depression and a panic attack disorder. And that's sort of where like my emotional eating came into play. When I was about 16, I started exercising for 2 hours every morning, sometimes 2 hours in the evening. I ate twice a day. I didn't eat a lot. I was obsessed with exercising, obsessed with not eating a lot. All I cared about was being skinny, and I paid so much attention to it that I think that I felt more insecure back then than I do now that I'm really fat, because that's all I thought about. And when I would go out, I would always think that everybody else was looking at me because I just thought about it so much, you know? After that, I got healthier. I did like gain a little bit of weight, but when I became vegan and stuff, it kind of didn't matter. I just made sure I was eating more. I was really healthy in my early 20s, although I've always had an issue with alcohol. But it's like in your 20s, you can get away with like so much. You can go out drinking like all night and be fine the next day. Now, like I'll wake up and my back hurts. Like that's how old I am. But back then, I felt really good. And all through my 20s, I felt really great being vegan. So I started to, like late spring, I started to feel a little weak. I started to feel a little tired, and I just didn't feel good. And that time of the month when it would come around was absolutely awful. Just so painful. I was so nauseated. I mean, the cramps were like unbearable. And I do have ovarian cysts, nothing like super serious, but I do tend to get pain around that time of the month. But this was just a lot, and they were heavy. And I went to my doctor and I got blood work done, and everything like seemed to be okay. But I told him, you know, I hadn't eaten meat in a long time. I've been like vegan or vegetarian off and on for a long time. And he did suggest that possibly I add some fish, maybe some chicken and eggs into my diet. So this was about late May where I decided I'm tired of feeling like crap, and I'm not happy with my weight. I'm just, you know, feeling, you know, I really need to like buckle down and actually do this. And what would end up happening every other time that I've dieted and everything was that I would either get like way too obsessive about it and it would become unhealthy, or I would try to do everything all at once and it was just overwhelming, so I would just give up. Knowing that I have anxiety and depression, and I did have, for 3 years, a pain pill addiction, and I am an alcoholic. I don't drink every day, but when I drink, I binge drink. It's like I just can't stop. There have been moments where like I can go out and have a glass of wine with like dinner, but for the most part, I need to stay away from it for like my physical and mental health. And what I decided to do too was try it one step at a time. So, but knowing that I have like these issues with like depression and anxiety, I could not have picked a worse time to like start this process, because if you don't know, in June, my car was stolen outside of Bob's work. He ended up losing his job. Then in July, I had like a really big cyst that was infected that had to have 3 incisions altogether, but it had to be drained a few times. It just kept getting infected. I missed work because of that. And then August rolls around and I fracture my ankle, thus losing my job. So it was like the worst series of events at like the worst time. I was like feeling like I was kind of set up for failure. But I actually really stuck to a diet. And what I decided to do was something that my dad lost 100 and some pounds on, my sister lost like 50 pounds on, and that was Atkins, which is a diet that does put you in a state of ketosis. But the thing is that, I mean, everybody has their own opinion when it comes to dieting and working out. You know, every time you research a diet, you're going to find research that supports it and research that says it's bad for you. Same thing with being vegan or intermittent fasting, the Mediterranean diet. I mean, just so many things. There's always research that either, you know, tells you to do the diet or tells you not to. So everybody has their preference. I know a lot of people that are against keto. I know a lot of people that are vegan. I tried to do vegan keto. It was really hard. And that's like, I was doing vegan keto and I started to feel really bad. I think it was just like too much. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to try Atkins. It's worked for these people. And I read the book, you know, and I think a lot of people think that Atkins is like just meat and cheese. And there are different phases in the diet. So like phase 1 is where you're only allowed 20 grams of carbohydrates. But I started intermittent fasting for 3 weeks. Then I started Atkins 40. So you can have 40 grams of carbohydrates. Then I went to Atkins 20. And now I'm pretty much doing like the Eco Atkins, but examples of what I would eat over the summer. Now I cut out alcohol almost completely. I drank when my sister and I went to the New Kids on the Block, the mixtape tour. Oh, that was just awesome. Salt and pepper, it was like a dream come true. But I did have some beers there. But for the most part, I stayed away from it. Instantly, just staying away from alcohol helped. I think everything I ended up doing worked, you know, and in combination with each other, it really worked. So when I cut out the alcohol, I wasn't eating as much junk food. It was easy to stay on Atkins 40. A typical day, I would have like scrambled eggs for breakfast. Sometimes make like a veggie omelet. I'd have a big salad for lunch, or maybe an Atkins shake, or a bar. I tried to stay away from the bars and the shakes for the most part because they're like super processed. I would have, unsweetened almond milk and a couple of Splendas and coffee. And for dinner, it was usually like tofu and vegetables. I implemented fish and veggies. I would have chicken from time to time. I cannot tell, I just can't even explain in words like how great my body felt. I had a ton of energy. And I was telling my regular doctor about this when I saw him earlier this month. I was like, I felt like my circulation was better. I don't know. He's like, oh, that's like kind of weird. I was like, well, you don't eat meat for so long, you know? And I was telling him about like how bad my periods were. And he was like, well, maybe there was an iron thing going on, but my blood work was okay, you know? And so anyway, so it was hard to adjust to eating animals and animal products again. For the most part, I stay away from dairy because I am lactose intolerant. It's not like super severe, but if I drink a glass of milk, I'm on the toilet. If I eat something that has like cheese in it, but it's not like a slice of cheese, it's not so bad. I can do like frozen custard and stuff. It just all sort of depends on what it is. So I didn't like snack on a bunch of cheese or anything. So I think like way back when I cut dairy out to begin with, my skin looked great. I was drinking more water this time around. So the intermittent fasting I did for a few weeks before doing Atkins 40. I did Atkins 40 for 2 weeks. Then I went down to the Atkins 20, which I stayed on until probably like September, like end of September-ish or so, something like that. Then I switched to the Eco Atkins, which is basically like their vegan and vegetarian version. So, this time around, I felt really good because I didn't overwhelm myself. My goals were to quit drinking, quit smoking, work out for 2 hours every day, and eat really clean. And that's a lot, like at one time. So by just taking a deep breath and just doing like one step at a time, they say that it takes 3 weeks for something, like for your body to develop a habit of something. So 2 to 3 weeks is usually what I would give like each step. And I felt amazing. I was losing weight. Mind you, I was 235. 235. Now I'm 200. So I'm still fat. I'm still considered obese. I'm only 5'3", you know, so I'm still getting there. I've always had sort of like a chunky face, but it is around that time of the month, and I still get like kind of nauseated, but the cramps are not nearly as bad. I mean, when I got it last month, I didn't even realize I had it until I had it, you know, which was awesome. But my cramps are a lot better. And when I decided to do this, I mean, I was like, oh, you know, I don't want to fail. I also don't want to eat a lot of meat. I don't want to go back into eating like a lot of animal products and stuff, but I really did feel a lot better doing it, you know? And so going into the Eco Atkins, it was like a hard sort of step. I wouldn't say that I am like vegan, but I do tend to try to eat more like plant-based. There's always a thing, you know, you can't please anybody. Like there are extreme vegans, there are extreme keto dieters, and everybody is right and everybody else is wrong. And when you look up this information, it's just so confusing and overwhelming. Just do what is good for your body, what you feel. So what I do now is, in the mornings, I always have a smoothie. I am not a big breakfast person. There are some mornings where I might be a little hungry, but for the most part, I really don't even feel like having anything until about 11. So my intermittent fasting times, I'll eat from 11 to 7. The rest of the time, I'm fasting. And I'll start with a fruit smoothie. I do banana, berries, spinach, kale. They actually sell these things up at Walmart. I think they're the Dole brand. But in the frozen section, they already have like frozen bananas, berries, spinach, and kale in a bag. And it's supposed to make, I think, 4 8-ounce smoothies, and it's about like $3.59 or something. So that's great if like you're on a budget and you can't buy all of the individual ingredients, you know. So once in a while, I'll get one of those. And the thing is that I was talking to my old dietitian, like on Facebook. I don't see her anymore because I can't afford her and she doesn't live here anymore anyway. But she would always tell me, you are what you eat. And she would tell me, you know, you have to find a good balance for yourself. You know, people do lose weight when it's not like a low carb diet or being in keto. It's what makes your body feel good. So right now, if my body is telling me to eat meat, I might have a cheeseburger, or I might have like a piece of fish and veggies or something. But I mean, for the most part, I'm still not really into the animal stuff, you know, even though I can't deny that I felt great eating a ton of animal products, aside from dairy, you know. But I'm feeling really good now too, and I think it's because I'm actually paying attention to what I'm eating. And like my dietitian said, that the whole idea of breakfast, lunch, and dinner started because that 3 meals a day would mean that you were wealthy way back when, and that you don't necessarily need to eat that much. Or people will tell you eat 5 small meals a day, you know. So I literally just listen to my body. I eat when I'm hungry. I will snack on seeds, nuts. I'll have oatmeal. Sometimes I'll have that for lunch or dinner because I love oatmeal. Put a little bit of Earth Balance soy-free butter in there, and a banana and a little bit of cinnamon. Oh, it's so good. For dinner, I usually have like a salad, maybe some type of green veggies. I'm really into cauliflower rice too. Like cauliflower rice, make some asparagus, season some tofu, because tofu will taste like anything you cook it with, you know, just season it like you would anything else. So paying attention to those things has, you know, really helped me. Once in a while, I might have some eggs because I might feel like that, you know, but for the most part, I just try to listen to my body. I'm still like losing weight. I'm still, you know, toning up and everything except for my chunky face. Ugh. But this bloat happens every time, like around that time of the month. And it's just like, I know I probably feel worse than it looks, but I feel like my face is like this big. It's like the worst. I also do like seitan a lot. There is a place, if you're in the Pittsburgh area, in like the Garfield, Lawrenceville area, called Spack Brothers. It's my absolute favorite place. It's a sub shop, pizza shop, but everything that they make with meat, they make vegan. They have the best vegan buffalo seitan wings with vegan ranch. Oh my goodness. I actually found 2 at Walmart. They have these things called Fruffalo wings. And it's a, I think it's like a seitan sausage, they call it, with like a buffalo sauce. I remember I had posted a picture of it on Twitter. They are so good. So right now, I don't do dairy. I try to limit my caffeine. I used to have like 2 to 3 cups of coffee a day. I took it down to 1. I still smoke, but I'm working on that. I haven't been drinking, although I did have a little bit of wine on Halloween. I didn't overdo it and like go crazy. So I'm just like trying to keep that in check. But I mean, and I found that if I end up eating something bad during the day, like not to ruin the rest of the day and just be like, oh, fuck it, I'm just going to eat whatever. But I can crush a bag of potato chips. If it's cheddar and sour cream Ruffles, they have a vegan version that they sell at Today's Market. Not as good, but it's okay. Or Snyder's barbecue potato chips. I can eat a bag of chips in a day. Not like in one sitting, but like throughout the day. It's like I can't ever do anything a little bit. Like I drink too much. I smoke too much. I eat too much. So it's all about like trying to find a good balance. I do allow myself cheat days. That's usually on the weekends. So Monday through Friday, I eat like super clean. And as far as exercise goes, I was exercising. I started riding a bike again because my nephews were like, you can do it, Aunt Jamie. And I got on my bicycle that Bob got me like years ago. I think I rode it once, and I wasn't comfortable with it. So I hadn't really technically rode a bike around for like years, like 15, 16, some years at least. So I got on a bike and I used to do a bike ride for half an hour, and I would walk for half an hour, and then I would take Laddie for his like long rounds, which would be between a half an hour to an hour, all depending on the weather and what time of day it was. But after I fractured my ankle, it was a lot harder. So I just recently stopped having to wear my brace, like at, I guess it was like mid-October. So I started walking Laddie for longer rounds. I started going for a half an hour to start out with in the morning by myself. Then I take him for like a half an hour. And I'm going to be starting Pilates again. I was also doing Pilates 3 times a week over the summer when I initially lost like the bulk of my weight. And the other 3 days were more like walking a lot, and I would do some weights and things like that, stuff I have at the house. Bob and I did have a membership to Planet Fitness. We went there once and got our pictures taken for like our ID card thingies or whatever, and we never went back. That's just it, you know. Maybe we did go once, but I really don't think so. I can't remember. But I'm just more comfortable being at home and working with what I have. I like the Windsor Pilates. They have always like kept me like feeling lean and strong, you know. So that's about all I've been doing. I do still cut down on the carbohydrates. Like if we go out, you know, to eat or something, I'll still pick like a salad over like pasta. But as far as pasta goes, I'm Italian. They do have a cauliflower gnocchi that they have at Trader Joe's that somebody on Twitter told me about. Fantastic. We get this brand, I think it's called Pal. Well, there's 2. There's Pal pasta and a Bonanza or something like that one, where there's a lentil penne, and then the other one has like a chickpea linguine. Absolutely delicious, and you don't get like tired, sleepy pasta belly. So it's like things like that I just try to change up, you know, and refined sugars, things like that. I eat fruit. That's one thing that I miss the most. You would think it would be like potato chips doing Atkins, but it was missing fruit. So I do eat fruit. I do, you know, vegetables, oatmeal, things like that. And just taking my time with it and knowing that it took a long time for me to put this weight on. It's going to take a long time for me to get it off. And it did take a solid like month and a half, you know, to see any results. So be patient, listen to your body, and I'll probably update you guys in a few months and see if I've made any more progress. Thanks for watching, and subscribe if you want to, and I'll see you guys soon. Love and hugs. Bye.